What's up, baseball fans? So in case you didn't know, after 3 grueling, annoying, and awful months, baseball has returned. And I have to say, I am quite excited, even more excited than when my chubby self sees pie on a plate. And if I had to make one more video about these negotiations, I was going to lose my freaking mind. But I'm so glad baseball is back. Even if it's for only 60 games, I am very happy. So just a quick rundown of how things are going to work. Yes, it will be 60 games. You're going to have a DH in both the American League and the National League. And for extra inning games, you're going to have a runner on second base to start the inning. And for the most part, teams are only going to be playing other teams that are within their region. But moving on to today's video, I wanted to go over my top storylines for this season. So let's not waste any more time. Coming in at number 10, will teams get creative with the new rules? Like I said, we're going to be having a universal DH, and for extra innings, there's going to be a runner on second base to start the inning. Along with this, we're going to be having the 3-batter minimum rule being implemented. Combine these things with a shortened season, we could see managers be a lot more aggressive when it comes to strategy. Could we see relievers being utilized even more since they won't have the brunt of a long season? Could we see more openers? Could we see multiple starting pitchers being used in games? With a runner on second to start extra innings, you could see a team bunt to get him to third. Or maybe it doesn't work out and they shoot themselves in the foot. If the runner gets to third, I'm sure we would see an intentional walk to set up for a double play. Or maybe a pitcher takes his chances with a guy at the plate that doesn't hit all that well, depending on who's batting next. With the 3-batter minimum, that opens up a whole ton of challenges as well. With that, managers will have to look at the lineup card and plan ahead of time for certain scenarios. Overall, though, it's going to be very interesting, especially in a 60-game season. At number 9, I have the universal designated hitter. Speaking of that universal DH, this could be one of my favorite things this season. I am very in favor of the universal DH because it gets pitchers away from the batter's box and not risking getting hurt, along with giving other guys more chances to hit. There are plenty of below-average fielders that can hit in the NL that could greatly benefit, such as Ryan Braun, Kyle Schwarber, Will Myers, and there's also Yoenis Cespedes, who's been dealing with injuries since 2017. It even gives some prospects a chance to contribute, like one of the Phillies' top prospects, Alex Bohm, or the Nationals' top prospect, Carter Kieboom. At number 8, I have the awards. Not only could this season be one of the most interesting of all time, but the award selections could be one of the most interesting of all time. Last year, Jacob deGrom won the Cy Young, but he ended up winning thanks to a really good second half in which he went 7-1 after the All-Star break and lowered his ERA from 3.21 to 2.43 by year's end. However, after 60 games, he was only 3-5 with a 3.49 ERA. Not bad numbers, but they don't scream Cy Young winner. In 2019, after 60 games, guys like Hyun-Jin Ryu, Mike Soroka, and Luis Castillo had much lower ERAs than deGrom. In the AL, Verlander did end up winning the AL Cy Young, but if you look at Garrett Cole, who did finish second, through 60 games, he was 5-5 with a 3.94 ERA. After that point, though, he proceeded to go 15-0 for the rest of the season to finish with a record of 20-5, and he lowered his ERA from 3.94 to 2.50 by season's end. Sure, he didn't end up winning, but it was very well up for debate. The point is here, guys aren't going to have a full season to work with, so it's going to be very interesting to see how these players take advantage of a short season. At number 7, could some rookies be game changers? Could some rookies help change the fortunes of some teams on the brink of contending? There's a strong crop of prospects this year that could give teams a huge boost in a weird season like this. There's guys like Luis Robert, who could be a game changer for the White Sox. Dylan Carlson on a Cardinals team that lost Marcell Ozuna this offseason. Nate Pearson on the Blue Jays that could emerge alongside with Hyun-Jin Ryu. Spencer Howard could give the Phillies a boost in pitching. Could Wander Franco arrive in Tampa a little early? How about Mackenzie Gore and Luis Patino in San Diego? There's a whole list of guys that could make a difference this year. At number 6, can the Washington Nationals be the first team since the Yankees in 2000 to repeat as World Series champions? The Nationals could potentially be set up to have the best chance out of any team in history to repeat as champions. Yes, they don't have Anthony Rendon anymore to protect Juan Soto in the lineup, but they still have their 3-headed monster of a pitching staff of Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, and Patrick Corbin, along with the addition of Will Harris, who was really good last year, to an already decent bullpen. But most of all, they've had the most rest of any team in history after winning a World Series. Sure, if they did win it all this year, some people would give it an asterisk because it's a shortened season, but you can look at it from a standpoint that they won even with all the adversity of the pandemic. No team since the Yankees back in 2000 have been able to repeat, so could the Nationals be the first team to finally do it? At number 5, which offseason acquisitions will make the biggest difference? There was Garrett Cole to the Yankees, Mookie Betts to the Dodgers, Anthony Rendon to the Angels, Josh Donaldson to the Twins, the White Sox adding Yasmani Grandal, Gio Gonzalez, Dallas Keuchel, Edwin Encarnacion, and Steve Cishek, Mike Moustakas and Nick Castellanos to the Reds, Madison Bumgarner, Cole Calhoun, and Starling Marte to the Diamondbacks, Hyun-Jin Ryu to the Blue Jays, and many more. I'm sure at least one of these acquisitions will make all the difference, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they shake things up. At number 4, I have Mookie Betts as a Dodger. Similar to Garrett Cole going to the Yankees, Mookie Betts has the potential to put the Dodgers over the hump. Since 2016, Mookie's been one of the best players in the league, averaging a 7.9 wins above replacement according to Baseball Reference, and averaging about 23 runs saved a season in right field according to Fangraphs. Another thing that's going to be very interesting is seeing how he'll play away from Fenway Park, where he's been a .319 hitter in his career with a .931 OPS. At Dodger Stadium, in a much smaller sample size of 12 regular season career at-bats, he does have a .500 average with a 1.321 OPS. At other NL parks in the NL West, he's been generally successful, minus a .111 average at Coors Field in 9 career at-bats. Another important note to add is his upcoming free agency. With only 60 games this season, with the likelihood of the Dodgers making the postseason, Mookie won't have a full season to maximize his worth, but it could end up working out in his favor as well. Teams will most likely not be wanting to spend a ton of money this offseason due to the pandemic and the loss of ticket sales, but if Mookie goes ballistic in a 60-game season, teams may not have a choice. At number 3, can Garrett Cole propel the Yankees to the World Series? You could argue that the Yankees last year could have won it all if they hadn't been ravaged by injuries, but they ended up being arguably a Garrett Cole away from getting to the World Series. Last year, the Yankees' clear weakness was a clear ace at the top of the rotation, and since they couldn't beat Cole, they simply just added him this past offseason. He finished second in the Cy Young voting with a record of 20-5 and an ERA of 2.50, along with a WHIP of 0.89. With stats like that at the top of the rotation, the Yankees are the clear favorites on paper, with Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Gary Sanchez, Gio Urshela, DJ LeMahieu, and Gleyber Torres in the lineup, along with Masahiro Tanaka and James Paxton behind Cole in the rotation, as well as a really solid bullpen with Aroldis Chapman, Zach Britton, and Adam Ottavino. Can this team stay healthy though? If they can, they could very well make it back to the World Series for the first time since 2009. At number 2, can the Dodgers finally put it together? This is a team many people have picked in the last few years to win it all, and they've failed to live up to the hype, losing in back-to-back World Series, along with getting knocked out in the first round to the Nationals last year. The lineup was already really good with Cody Bellinger, Justin Turner, Max Muncy, Corey Seager, Jock Peterson, and now they've added one of the best players in the league in Mookie Betts. Along with that, they added a very solid arm in David Price that gives them a really good top 3 in the rotation alongside Clayton Kershaw and Walker Buehler. The bullpen is also very good with guys like Kenley Jansen, Joe Kelly, Pedro Baez, Ross Stripling, and now they've added guys like Brusdar Graterol and Blake Treinen. And then there's some top prospects like Gavin Lux and Dustin May. If there was any year for the Dodgers to finally put it together, it's this year. But can they finally do it? And coming in at number 1, what will a 60-game season look like? If COVID-19 doesn't step in, this season is going to be unlike anything we've ever seen. It's been 25 years since there's been a shortened season, but that was a season of 144 games. To find a shortened season even close to a season like this one, you have to go back to 1981, in which they played around 107 games. This is going to be a complete sprint of a season, shorter than an actual NBA season. If you take a look at 2019 after 60 games, there could have been some very different scenarios play out. In the American League, all of the divisions would have stayed the same, but the Rangers would have played the Rays in the wild card game instead of the Athletics. In the National League, the Phillies were tied with the Braves for the NL East lead at 60 games, and the Brewers and Cubs were tied for the NL Central lead after 60 games. But most importantly, the Nationals wouldn't have even made the playoffs. Again, what makes the season so crazy is the 60 games, but who knows if we end up seeing some wacky surprise team like the Pirates, who weren't too far off the division lead last year after 60 games. What about the Mariners, the Royals, maybe the Marlins could be in the playoff hunt? Whatever happens, it could easily be the most exciting season of all time. So those are the storylines I'm going to be looking out for this year. Tell me down below in the comments, what storylines are you going to be looking out for? But that's all I got for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.